Hi there, in this video we're just going to look at doing some one variable statistics for a set of data. The example I'm going to use is the same one as I've downloaded from the Statistics Canada website, the Youth Body Mass Index data. This is the data that we had just copied and pasted in. Before I start doing any calculations, I'm going to clean up this table a little bit in case I want to use this table in a report or something. So what I'm going to do is look at what each of these titles are. It has both sexes or both genders, number of persons, percents. These titles are kind of in the wrong spot, so I'm just going to delete each of these titles. This column here is just indicators. You'll notice that every single thing is the exact same. Well, that's really the title that I would want for my table. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here. And then I'm going to just delete this entire column, so I don't really need it. Here I have total for 12 years and older. Again, that's already indicated in the other. These I had copied in for my references. I'm just going to cut them and just paste them down here. So at the bottom, they're out of the way. Okay, next I'm going to clean up a few things here. These are all titles, so I'm just going to bold them and center them for myself. I'm also going to center my data here so it's all nice and cleaned up. You notice these two numbers for PEI have an E beside them. That was from the website, Stats Canada website, indicating that that data might not be that usable because there's probably not enough data. I'm still going to use it, but in order to do any calculations, I can't have any letters with the numbers, so I'm just going to delete these. Okay. If I wanted to, I can even just put some borders around here. So if I wanted to put this into a report or something, it's kind of organized. With each of these, obviously with these titles, I don't care about this map, so I'm just going to clean up each of my titles. I'll delete some of that stuff, clean it up, make it a little nicer. Okay, so I just cleaned up some of the titles here. Next, I'm going to do some calculations. So I'll write down what I want to calculate. I'm going to do the mean, median, mode. I'm going to do the standard deviation. Also, I'm going to do some quartile calculations. So Q1, Q2, Q3. I'm going to do my max, my min, range, my IQR, so that I can see if there's any outliers. So there are functions within Google Sheets that I can use in order to calculate these. I could calculate each of these by hand. Instead, I'm just going to have the Google Sheets form feature use it, calculate for me. Next, instead of looking at the total number of people, I'm going to look at my percentages. So I'm just going to compare my provinces here. I'm not going to include this data set for all of Canada since that's everything combined. Also, the percent is better used in order to compare different provinces since each province has a different total population. I can't really say, oh, look at PEI doesn't have very many people that are obese or overweight. Really, I want to look at number compared to total within that province. So going over here to do some calculations. In order to find these features to calculate, I'm going to hit an equal sign. I'm going to start typing words. The mean function is actually called the average. So I type the word average and then I put a bracket. Up will pop up what I'm calculating. I'm going to highlight all my data for my provinces here and hit enter. Similarly, I'm going to start typing the word median and hit a bracket, median. I'm going to do mode. For the quartiles, what I can do if I start typing the word quartile, up shows here what I can, in here it tells me what I want to do. I'm going to highlight the data first and then I'm going to put comma. So I'll highlight my data. I'm going to put in a comma, and then I can type in what quartile I want. So if I put a 1, then that's going to be the first quartile that it's calculating for me. I'm going to do the same thing for the other quartiles. Highlight my data, comma 2. Remember, Q2 is the same as the median. You'll notice that same value here as the median value that was shown above. Q3, highlight my data, comma 3. Max function, just type the word max, highlight my data. Min, same thing, highlight my data. So it's really fast to get to do these calculations. My range, remember, is max value minus my min value. I'm going to hit enter. My IQR is going to be my hit equals my Q3 minus my Q1. Enter. Standard deviation equals, now this one I'm just going to type STD. STDEV, standard dev. You'll notice here, when I look on here, this is standard deviation based on a sample. That's if I was only looking at a few of the provinces. Because I'm looking at all of them, I'm actually going to do the standard deviation for the population. So I'm going to put a P after here. And when I go over here, now I'm doing standard deviation based on entire population. Okay, and then I'm just going to highlight my values here. Now, what I can do with this data shows my mean value is 29. I can look at my data and see which ones are above and below the mean. I can decide, are there any outliers? So I'm going to check outliers. So I'm going to see, are there any that are too high? So for my high end, I'm going to do Q3 plus 1.5 times. So I use the star button, the IQR, enter. And then I'm going to do Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR, enter. Then I can check and see, are there any pieces of data that are considered to be outliers. Look at this, the high end 36.95. You'll see that none of them are above that. Newfoundland and Labrador is really close to being an outlier though. I can also look here at the low end. None of them are below in terms of outliers. Again, British Columbia or BC is the close to that low end. And there you go, there's my calculations. I can now use this data to help me analyze or discuss what's happening.